What do you say, guys? Oh, man. Well, first of all, thanks for coming out. Obviously, been a very action-packed night, I should say. To quote Kevin Byrne, we got better tonight. That's something Kevin used to always say.
And Chad just said it.
And Chad just said it.
Here, so you did well, Chad.
I think we're all thrilled. We got, in our opinion, the very two best players at their positions. In Kyle, we got a rangy safety, a ball hawk, tremendous physical skills, measurables, a very, very smart football player, great makeup, pedigree, productive, tough, and physical. He can do a myriad of different things for us, and never dreamed in a million years that he would be there. It reminds me of some of the old drafts with Ozzie, where it just seemed like in the early days, good players would just fall down the board to us. It kind of felt that way, and it was a no-brainer for us, really. With Tyler, just one of the very most enjoyable football players to watch this year. I think all the scouts would say that. You're talking about one of the best technicians, strong, physical, tough, quick-footed. Somebody said it on TV, I think. If he was an inch taller and his arms were a half-inch longer, he'd have been a top 5 pick. And I believe that. He's probably one of the better centers we've seen come out in a long time. So filled a huge need for us. We feel that this offseason we've had a chance to address the offensive line in different ways and improve the depth and the quality along the front, and we're not done. So overall, very excited start to the process, and I'll kick it off to Coach.
Just to reiterate what Eric said, we got better, and I'm very excited about the two players themselves. The personality, the toughness, the character. You watch the tape and they jump off the tape. It's just been a great first round for us. I'm fired up.
Questions?
Eric, when you say ball hawk with the safety, Ed Reed caliber ball hawk, center fielder, or is he more of a guy that
you're trying to set me up. No, I would never compare anybody to 20. Ed.
Let me give context to that.
Yeah.
Much like you never replace a Ray Lewis, you never replace Ed Reed. Since Ed Reed, I've heard a lot of conversation how hard it is to find guys coming out of college who can play in space.
Sure.
Is he a guy who can play in space at this level?
I think he can play in space. We would not have drafted him if he couldn't play in space. A safety has to play in space in the modern NFL. And so he's got awareness, he's intelligent, tremendous range. Again, people talk about, his 40 time. I could tell you what some of our best players have run 40-wise over the years. And this guy covers ground with range and speed and awareness. He's quick, he's got great eyes. So he can do it all. We're very excited about him, and he's a phenomenal kid.
Eric, what went into the move to deal Marquise Brown, and how long has that been kind of in the works?
Yeah, that's a complicated topic, and for me personally, complicated because Marquise was my first pick, and one of my favorite guys on the team. So, but Marquise came to me after the season and requested that he be traded, and was not happy and wanted to play elsewhere. Again, it was something that I anguished over for a long time. He would tell you, I think, that he and I had many conversations throughout the spring. And, I always say the club has to win, and this was a situation where it was going to be impossible for the club to truly win. But, we do what we think is best for the player. We try to accommodate players when we can. I'm sensitive to that, and so we did it. I think he would say that he feels happy, which is good, and we made the best of the situation as a club. We used that pick wisely, I think. We got a good trade, I think, and we got an excellent player. And I hope when we look back at this, we'll see that it was a tough situation. I hope the best for Hollywood, I really do. I hope he's in the Pro Bowl. But I also think that this guy that we drafted is going to be in Pro Bowls too. And so that'll be a heck of a thing.
Eric, Marquise Brown was at the Cardinals draft party, so was this prearranged and it was just a matter of just announcing it when you did?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jeff. sometimes there's a strategy involved with what we do and how we do it. And, it's just, what we do. I mean, everything we do, as Coach would say, it's always you think about it and you do its best. It's like a game plan. You have to have a strategy. So we had some conversations. We had agreed earlier this week. And we had a way of going about it that we thought was good for the club and good for him. It's unusual, as you guys know, to be able to keep something quiet, which I'm proud of. Especially with you, Jeff. It's hard because you're always breaking stories, But we were able to do that, so that was good too.
Eric, had you had a chance to talk to Lamar to prepare him that a trade was coming, given how close they are as friends and it is his number one wide receiver?
Yeah, that's something that we did do. John and I did speak with Lamar. We always do. I mean, Lamar's probably one of the great leaders of our team. Also in the community as a teammate in the building. So we do try to communicate with him as best as possible. We had a communication with him, actually before the trade was made, to be honest, and explain the situation as best as we could. It's challenging for everybody. I mean, our locker room is very close, which I'm proud of, as Coach would say. And so anytime, a teammate is potentially getting traded, it's something that's hard for the players to understand at times. But I think in the end, it happens. It's part of the business.
Eric, as far as getting a pass rusher, do you see opportunity there in the later rounds? I mean, you opted obviously for the two best players on your board, but do you still opportunity for pass rushers later in the round now?
Yeah, I don't want to, tip my hand, but I do think there are excellent players available in the next 3 rounds, really. I mean, that's one of our goals with this draft was to have as many picks as possible. I'm not naive. I know we're not going to nail all 6 fourth-round picks. I've read some very intelligent articles about that, how difficult it is to draft in the 4th round. And I do think, though, our goal is to be pretty damn good with these upcoming picks. I think we've stacked an excellent board. Our scouts and coaches have done a great job. And I think we're primed to do very well in the next couple of days.
Eric, when you're looking at the list of needs, safety was probably not, for a lot of people, saying that's pretty high. Was this another case of best player available? I know you keep telling people you select the best player available. Do you think this is kind of the epitome of that?
I do. I really do, Jameson, because as you said, this is a situation where, honestly, we thought this guy would be gone by pick 4 or 5, maybe. So just too good of a player. It was kind of a no-brainer, to be honest, for us. It wasn't even contemplation, Had the phone been ringing at that time, we would not have traded out away from him. And just these kind of players, we feel are unique, and he can help us in so many ways. You've watched us play. You've seen the NFL game change. You've seen how tight ends now are such weapons. We think this guy can cover tight ends. We think he can play split safety. This guy can play down in the box. He's a very smart guy. He fits our defense. Our coaches are very excited. And we think that, with Marcus and with Chuck, with him, with guys like Brandon Stevens, with Gino, we think we have a lot of moving pieces, chess pieces that will help us be a very good defense.
Back in 2019, I think it was, you guys ran a lot of 3 safety looks and were really, really good as a pass defense. Was that something that you wanted to, return to or saw a lot of value in just with getting those type of guys on the field?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we're going to run multiple personnel groups, and 3 safeties has been a big part of what we like to do. So, we've got 3 really good safeties right now. I think we can play the extra safety at nickel. We can play the extra safety at dime. We could play him at Mike. Those guys are going to be all those guys are going to be on the field for sure.
There was a lot of the pre-draft process. You guys were connected to Tyler pretty early in the process, and there were questions about, you guys typically like a little bigger centers. How's the scheme fit and all of that? Why do you feel like Tyler is such a good scheme fit for what you guys do and such a good player fit for your offense?
Yeah, I'd say just his competitiveness. One, he can play really in any scheme, but his core strength, I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but he gets on guys. You guys saw the highlights. That's him every play. Big guys don't affect him. He can leverage guys. You saw the wrestling. He just is a really tremendous athlete, knows how to play the position, knows how to get his body in the right spot, and then he just consistently works at maintaining his blocks. And, I mean, you'll see it when they show highlights. He'll block 3 guys in one play. He's a lot of fun to watch. And like Eric mentioned, he's kind of a consensus guy with all the scouts and coaches. Everyone saw him the same way. It's just you put the film on and it's obvious that he can play anywhere.
Eric, do you feel like you guys are short at wide receiver now, and is that something you think you'll be able to address over the next
Yeah,
few
because,
years?
I was thinking about that, and I kind of missed all the questions this year. So I was like, I kind of wanted to get back to the days of old, Listen, I think that we have some good young players, excited. I mean, Rashad has had a tremendous offseason so far. He's in great shape. We got Mark, and he's about as good as you get, right? And, Devin made a jump this year. He's a Pro Bowl special teams guy, Pro Bowl returner. His best is yet to come. James Prochet had some moments last year. Had some big games and some clutch plays. We think Nick's going to come back this year and be healthier. And there's still 3 rounds to go, 4 rounds to go, whatever it is, in terms of rounds that we have picks. And as Ozzie said, and has said many times, we don't play until September. And we will continue to look at different opportunities to get better as a club. There's still some free agents out there. And, we'll have the best team we can have come September.
Kyle had a bit of an injury issue last year. Are you confident that's fine?
I just trust our doctors, our doctors and our trainers. We get all the information. He worked out. I feel really good about it,
Commercial, is that about Rashad?
Kyle, you said Kyle, right? Yeah, Kyle, yeah.
Coach, Linderbaum, how much flexibility is that giving down the offensive line as far as maybe keeping McCurry at tackle or guard or whatever?
No question, that's the thing. When you had a really good player, like a top player, into the top of the depth chart, the whole depth chart just kind of filters out in a great way. Pat McCurry still could find his way into the starting lineup. There's no doubt about it. He's a really good player. And I'm assuming Tyler's going to come in and start at center for sure, obviously. We'll see how Ronnie comes back, but all signs point in the right direction. We've got a heck of a right tackle, we think, maybe 2. We've got 2 veteran tackles we brought in here. And, there's some depth already, and I think we may add another offensive lineman into the mix. So, to me, there's going to be a lot of competition for, the starting spots, one spot maybe in particular. And then there's going to be competition for those backup spots big time. And the thing we're trying to do is be a physical, punishing offensive line. We want that kind of a mindset in our group. And that's what Tyler Linderbaum brings to us. Pat McCurry's like that already. A lot of our guys are. And, this guy adds to it.
We do 2 more, guys.
Kyle, you said your phone was ringing at 14. Was that to move back? And also, was there any thought to move up? We saw a couple of teams kind of really jump up in the draft in the 10 to 14 range.
We discussed potentially moving up, but, unfortunately, the players that we would have moved up for were gone, like, within 3 picks, maybe. So, that was a quick conversation. In terms of trading back, I think there were some teams that wanted to trade up to our spot, I think. And then what you saw was a run on wide receivers. And so there were some teams, I think, picking in the 20s that were anxious to get up to 14. But by then, as you saw, the receivers were all gone. So we were very fortunate because we had a guy like Kyle really there. It was a gift that we haven't always had in some years because made it very easy because the phone didn't ring. And, there's been a few years I can think of when the phone hasn't rung. 2 years, I could tell you, just tell you guys a little story. It never rang when we drafted Ronnie Stanley, and it never rang when we drafted Marlon Humphrey. And those were pretty good picks. And I feel that we'll look back on this pick and we'll be glad that the phone didn't ring.
Good.
Okay. You guys know what it's going so clean, right?
Come in.